in case you guys haven't heard, there was an air traffic accident last night in which an American Airlines plane was. I mean, did you guys see the video of this? I mean, it was ran into by an Army Black Hawk helicopter, resulting in roughly 64 people dying, I believe. And I was just saying to John that, to me, this tragedy just seems especially harsh. I mean, harsh, the wrong word, like a gut punch that even in like the darkest, tragedy, we have mass shootings every other day, it seems like. But this one just seems to weigh on me a lot more. But John, you said you disagreed. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't mean to be insensitive.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm saying this like, we are inundated with tragedy every day. This one definitely seems to have taken news headlines. I think because of the airplaneness of it, and like, there's just an innate fear of flying. I was just on planes. I know that it's the safest way to travel, and yet you're still, when you hit turbulence, you're still like, oh my God, because it's probably one of the most terrifying ways to die. Like, you die in a car crash. As long as you die pretty quickly, you're, whatever. But like, just the idea of falling through the sky in an airplane is uniquely terrifying. So there's that. I get it. But like, I don't know. It just seems like, this sort of thing happens sometimes. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, I'm not even confident it's really anyone's fault. Like, it's one of those things where it could just be random error. It could be a result of the Trump cuts that he's been making. It could be a result of the multiple warnings that have been made by tons of pilots and air traffic controllers about overwork and fatigue. It could be so many things. None of them seem particularly tragic to me, more than any other tragedy, if that makes sense, other than the fact that it's related to an airplane. But like, that's kind of just like, I don't know, obvious bias. I don't know. Todd, what do you think?
It's super tragic, and I really haven't thought that much into it, because in my mind, things can just be accidents. I feel like we've got to a point where, it wasn't 10 minutes after that collision happened and it hit, social media or the news waves before the conspiracy theorists started just talking about all their expertise and how flight patterns work and what Black Hawk helicopters can or can't do. And I just really haven't given it much thought today, other than just the tragedy of it. Pretty terrible. Do I think that Donald Trump is probably going to catch a lot of flack over it? Yes. Should he? Yes. Do I absolutely know that it has nothing to do with DEI? Yes, I do know that. That's about the extent of what I know about it.
Tom, I will disagree with you there, because while we don't know anything yet, I do know that before we had this like unqualified white man take the position of defense secretary, we never had a military copter run into a commercial airline flight. So it could be the result of DEI for all I know. DJ, what do you think?
Well, about that, with Pete Hegseth and everything. Well, first I'll address what Todd mentioned with should Trump be blamed for this. Now, I know that Trump came in. I think he fired the FAA director and he froze up hiring, whatever. And this all happened about 10 days ago. I'm not entirely convinced this is Donald Trump's fault. I don't care. I don't. Yeah. I like this is like because this isn't a if they do it, it's okay. No, this is about winning, right? It's about power. And if the roles are reversed, for a fact the Republicans will be doing this. This is just good politics. Not on the political side, like Trump should be hammered on this every single day for as long as they can. Just like the 13 Marines dying in Afghanistan wasn't Joe Biden's fault. Didn't matter, right? That's going to be pinned on him because, the buck stops with him. So politically, that is the correct move. I agree. As far as you're right,
TJ,
John.
You're right. I don't care if Joe Biden was personally flying the helicopter. I'm still going to blame Donald Trump for it.
Right, exactly.
It can still stick.
Yeah. This is be a great way to Biden go out, but that would be a real comedic way for Biden to end it all. But the thing with, you mentioned how this is, as far as whenever, what was it, Lloyd Austin was Secretary of Defense, we didn't have military helicopters flying into commercial aircraft. That's true. However, Todd can probably back me up on this. It's true that commercial aircraft flying on a commercial aircraft is the safest way to travel. I think that this is the first fatality for an American airline or an American domestic flight in 15 years. They're incredibly rare, but the same cannot be said for military helicopters. Todd's right. Those things, I feel like they crash every other week, it seems like. So yeah, this is the first one. Like, this is the first time I've seen anything, because you guys see the video on this. The video with the helicopter, I mean, it looks so strange. Like the plane is just coming down to land and the helicopter is like a bullet right into it. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And you're right, Todd. People have coming out with the conspiracy shit. People, not everything is a conspiracy. Okay. In fact, most things are not a conspiracy. And when the story came out, and you're right, Todd, immediately I said, oh, who was on the plane? Who was on the helicopter? Ooh, I wonder what target they're going after. This is a distraction. No, folks, accidents just happen sometimes. Even freakishly weird ones. Like Todd was saying how people were talking about, well, here's what I know. It's funny because I did the same thing. It's like when you're in air travel I was in missile defense, they have these things called ACOs, airspace control orders, which is essentially a highway that is built for you in space, where it's like, hey, these are your like literal left and right, up and down limits. You stay in, that is your lane when you're flying. So it's hard for that to happen because people stay in their highways, but I didn't know how often they were having these flights, these military flights over Ronald Reagan Airport. Apparently, that's a real common thing. I didn't figure that out until just now. I don't know. Maybe that's something that needs to change. Well, what do you think, Todd?
Yeah, I heard an expert talking about how they use that lane of travel for Black Hawk training missions, and I guess this Black Hawk they were just training with their MVGs, flying with night vision really close to an airport, which sounds kind of odd.
Yes.
Especially like I think about how much planning and risk assessment goes into driving a Humvee with night vision goggles on at 15 to 20 miles per hour with no traffic around. I can't imagine what goes into flying a Black Hawk, but as this expert explained that, so we know the Black Hawk, it doesn't fly on autopilot. That's a person actually manipulating everything that aircraft does. And they had their limit of, their ceiling's like 200 feet. They're supposed to be operating between 150, 200 feet. The fact that their little lane that they were taking and that altitude could go into the path of the autopilot landing of an airplane just seems really weird to me. But it doesn't, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I just think it just happened for the first time. And now someone is finally like, oh yeah, maybe that's a bad idea.
You made it to this part of the video. Thank you so much. I haven't said this in a while, but you really are our favorite viewer. No. Not the guy next to you, not the guy behind you, you, the one I'm pointing at right now. And if you want to know where to find our wonderful guest, well, I would hope you already know already because he's been on the show enough. But Superman Todd, where can people find you?
I'm on TikTok until it gets banned. I think I might start a YouTube channel here pretty soon. But as of right now, I'm just on TikTok.
Fantastic. We appreciate you, Superman Todd. Folks, we appreciate you watching the show as well. If you want to see me fuck up more Gen Z hearts, I have a hard time doing that. I don't know how they do that. It's kind of hard for me to do.
I don't know either.
Oh, God, it's difficult. Yeah, I don't know. But stick around for the show. Watch the episodes. We'll insult you, but we will be funny about it, so we know you'll enjoy it. So catch you guys next week. Good game, fellas.